So as much as Alec Baldwin sucks, Hilaria is almost as bad. Let's get into why this woman sucks so much. Now, before I do that, I want to recap why Alec Baldwin sucks so much. And these are things I actually left out yesterday. Look at my dog. Did y'all know that he's banned from the Philippines? Apparently he made a really crude joke to a Filipino senator about mail order brides. I don't know. This is just one of the many things that he's done that's so messed up. All this man does is apologize because he's terrible. He also called his daughter Ireland, an 11-year-old girl at the time, a rude, thoughtless pig. Told her she didn't possess the brains or the decency of a human being. That was while he was trying to get custody of her. He also compared his experience with trying to get custody in a divorce from Kim Basinger as going through the Indochina War. He called the lawyers and judges the corrupt, inefficient, lazy, stupid, the most god-awful people ever. Okay, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the kind of man who doesn't want to pay child support. He's also said really incredibly homophobic things. And then, of course, always tries to that's not what I meant. The man is just violent, vile, an entitled prick who also loves Woody Allen. And, I mean, everybody loves Dylan Farrow, right? This man has exposed more, like his work has meant so much to survivors. And of course, Alec Baldwin hates him. Look at this comparison that he made. He compared Woody Allen's daughter, who was allegedly murdered by him, to a character in To Kill a Mockingbird, which is about a white woman falsely accusing, oh my God, bro. Oh my God. If there's one thing this man has, it's audacity and caucasity. He also, he loves to support abusers, especially ones who have been exposed with Me Too. And then, of course, the most important thing, which is what my last two videos are about, which is the fact that he fired a pew-pew, which left a very talented woman cinematographer dead and another man injured because he was being reckless. His reckless behavior and cost-cutting as a producer on the film, which is the people who are in charge of everything. I hope this man goes down with rust. But let's talk about how awful his wife is. When this first happened, she was like, Alec had a really traumatic thing happen and I'm trying to limit the PTSD. Oh, it happened? Or he caused it to happen through literally pulling the trigger, not checking the pew-pew, and also not funding a film that was full of endless number of pew-pews and shooting scenes, and he did not want to hire a real armorer with experience or enough crew members and overworked them and didn't pay them and didn't give them hotel rooms, and they walked off set and there was already 3 instances of problems with pew-pews of someone literally, God, this didn't happen to him. He made this happen. And she's like, you look what happens to soldiers and police officers. Wait, sorry. I'm using a weird southern accent. Hilaria uses a fake Spanish accent. I'm not going to try. Okay, it's actually fair to compare him to a police officer because given what we know about police, ACAB, he you know what? Yeah, that's why I don't have sympathy for police officers. And most soldiers are actually terrible to their families and abusive. So, okay, sure, I'll stick with that one. But he's not a victim. He needs space for me to take care of him and his mental health. It's an awful thing that happened. Not that he did. I swear, she's doing the media's work for them. They always make the abusers, whether it's, cops or men, as the active, the passive voice. That's what she's doing. Her posts on Insta. Look, I'm holding it down here. She's a victim by proxy of her poor husband who's a victim of the consequences of his own actions. And then she's all protective. I remember when I saw this interview, she's like, I'm the protective Spanish mama, even though I'm not fucking Spanish. This is also the woman who came out with empathy written and was like, hey, I have 7 children. I'm the victim of y'all asking me questions that you have the right to ask because my husband is trash. And literally unalived a woman. Like, also, what are her shoes? Like, I cannot stand this lady. I totally forgot that he was in Bad Vegan. I don't know if you guys saw that movie. But apparently he met her through this whole restaurant thing. Oh, look, she said he wanted to find someone to settle down with. So this lady, the one who was in Bad Vegan, suggested he adopt a dog. Well, he got Hilaria instead. He wanted a wife and kids and was too... And the restaurant lady was too busy with her own business. So she noticed he was unhappy and hoped to help him find someone by finding the perfect dog for him to adopt. Like, Hilaria, you're just a hospice wife. And I'm going to tag my mutual who came up with that term because it's honestly my favorite term ever. This man is in his 60s. She's what, 40 now? I don't even know. But she's got 7 children with him, and he could die any day now. Good luck, girl. Good luck. You're going to be nursing another baby pretty soon because this man, can you imagine what a bad patient he would be? Anyway, let's get back to how much she sucks. So this was in Business Insider, a complete timeline of how Hilaria Baldwin contradictory and misleading public life and how it blew up. So it's not even that she just like created this whole identity that is just fake. But even when she had every opportunity to correct people who kept calling her Spanish, she never would. Because this lady, this rich woman from Boston, wants so bad to not be a boring, basic merc. And when she was interviewed by the New York Times to talk about it, she's like, I understand it's never enough for people. You know, I was born in Boston, yeah, but my family lives in Spain. And I moved to New York when I was 19. From Boston, though. You keep trying to make people seem as though you moved from Spain, because I'm going to show you in a minute.
And a dresser and one chair. With your parents? No. I moved here when I was 19 to go to NYU. And from my family lives in Spain. They live in Mallorca.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that would make sense. You wouldn't know the pop culture of.
Well, I know no pop culture anywhere. Now I'm better, but I knew no pop culture.
Do you see how they're like, I moved here when I was 19. From where? Well, my parents live in Spain. And then she's like, why do y'all think that I'm trying to tell people I'm from Spain?
A few ingredients. We have tomatoes. We have, how do you say it? Cucumber.
English word. It's my second language. Oh, cucumber. Like, this woman keeps making us seem crazy for thinking she was Spanish. Like, the internet is forever. This is forever on the internet, lady. I don't know why you think we can't just Google cucumber Hilaria and come and look at that clip and see that you are so... Do you guys hear him snoring right now? This is a lady that had these, a Spanish veil and the flamenco dancer or whatever, I'm not saying it right, fans at her wedding. And that was important to her, all of this stuff, because I like that I brought in a bit of my culture. So during her vows, she was fanning herself with her culture's fans. Their stupid rings have somos un buen equipo. I'm not saying that right. We are a good team. Yeah, you guys are good for each other because you both suck. You're both liars. You both gaslight the public. Y'all, ugh. Their first dance was to Contigo, and they had a montage of videos for their song to Ave Maria. Like, this is so extra. This is so over the top. And this is just the wedding. Like, this part makes no sense to me right here. Even the couple's proposal was an ode to Spain. I don't get this reference. Maybe someone can explain it. Hilaria told Extra that he chose Montauk because it was as close as he could get to Spain to my family. What? Like, okay, you went to Long Island, blah. And this part kills me right here. She told a story about how her family couldn't understand how to pronounce her new last name, Baldwin. For now, she confesses she has enough with learning to spell her last name. I had to repeat it for my family 3 times. Baldwin. So when she's trying to help her American family, U.S. American family, who have roots to the Revolutionary War. When she's trying to tell them how to pronounce their name, they're like, oh, we already know he is. Why didn't you pronounce it right the first time? What? Oh, God. Also, just in case you weren't already sure that Baldwin is an enabler of schmexual predators, this dude was at their wedding with his daughter/wife. Like, God. So despite Hilaria claiming that her mother is Spanish, if you go and look at any records online, Dr. Catherine Hayward is in fact a fourth-generation Massachusetts resident. And her mom apparently grew up in Longmeadow, where she spent her career practicing medicine. So I'm guessing that's where Hilaria grew up. Her father, her grandfather basically, Chuck, was born and raised in Massachusetts, as was his late wife. So her mom was an assistant professor of medicine in a Harvard medical school. She gave birth to Hilaria in Hillary. Her name is Hillary and has nothing going for her that she, oh my God. This is what white people do all the time. Anyway, I looked up Longmeadow and this came up. Where do most of the millionaires in Western Massachusetts live? Longmeadow is the top of the list. They have more millionaires in the Hilaria's hometown than in most parts of Massachusetts. So even Wikipedia is trolling this woman. So Hilaria was born Hillary Lynn Hayward Thomas in Boston in January 6th. Oh, well, that makes sense. 1984. To Catherine Hayward and David Thomas Jr. Not Spanish names. She is of English, French, Canadian, German, Irish, and Slovak descent, but definitely not Spanish. Just because she was a rich kid who vacationed in Spain, she wants us to think she's Spanish. You know, the one trip my mom saved up for every year, single mom, was to take me and my sister to Disney World. And we went there every year when I was a kid. So, you know what? I am part Fantasylandia. I come from Space Mountain. Shut a God. This is just insulting. She wants to be an immigrant so bad. Here's what's really interesting. So her father is an attorney. Her mom's like a doctor or whatever. With an undergraduate degree in Spanish literature and a law degree from Georgetown. I'm going to get back to that in a second. Her paternal grandfather, David Lloyd Thomas Sr., has an American with roots in the country that predate the American Revolution. Also, Hilaria went to Cambridge School of Weston, a private co-ed college. Then when she went to NYU, I saw somewhere, I forget how much, but I think this private school is like 50, 60 grand a year. Okay, so her dad once said, this is what's really interesting to me. I swear, everything comes back to daddy issues. Her dad grew up in the Midwestern family that relocated to the East Coast when I was an infant. My path in life has been heavily influenced by Spanish language and culture, not because I have an iota of Latin blood in my veins. So her dad has even admitted, hey, we're not Spanish. We're not. But look at why her dad liked Spanish. When he was in grade school, his father went to Argentina on business trips while Thomas stayed in Nebraska, missing daddy. He talks about how I did miss my father, and he promised me that if I ever learned Spanish, he would take me to Argentina. Oh, is that where this all started? Your Hilaria's dad was abandoned by his dad all the time to go to work, and then he learned Spanish just so daddy would not leave him home all the time. Is that the origin story of this insanity? He started studying Spanish and eventually visited Argentina, Chile, and Peru with his father. And as an adult, he visited Spain and found a deep connection with the country via the food. Spanish meals are served in a way that facilitates conversation and relationship. Unlike in my family of origin, meals consist of various courses. Okay, so you realize this is how most people around the world eat? I swear to God, as a white American, it really took me traveling a lot and living in other countries to realize how empty, how how cut off I am from any of my ancestry. Now, I am actually, because I became a history major and really want to know the truth, I'm actually very, very aware of the horrifying things that my ancestors did. I'm a white woman from the South, okay? There's no denying that my ancestors are terrorists. But what I find very sad is that, like, here in France, I had to take, I know this is a little bit of a detour, but I'm going to get back to Hilaria. I had to take courses to integrate into French culture. And 4 days I sat in a class learning, what does it mean to be French? The French people know what that means. Now, they have a whole thing that they are in deep denial about their current and past colonial terrorism, and whatever. That's a whole nother video. But what French people do know is they've been here for a long time. Their food, there's a whole thing about being French. But when I'm asked, what does it mean to be American, a U.S. American? I don't know. War. And because I'm a white U.S. American, I have no identity. I don't know who the hell I am. What does it mean to be white U.S. American? Ancestors are terrorists? Like baseball, hot dogs, war? What? I don't know. I don't even know. Like genocide? I don't even know. Like, what is American? I don't know. Because we're a colonial empire. And so when I didn't realize until I started traveling how empty my culture is. So I understand why white people do this, but it's not right. We're culture vultures looking. It's like the ugly duckling or whatever who's like, well, are you my mommy? Are you my, like, we're just looking for where the hell we come from. You know, when I asked one of my family members when I was in Ireland, hey, I'm pretty sure we're Irish too, right? Do you know what our names were? I don't know. We've been in the South a long time. Yeah, but we came from somewhere. We're not from here. We're not from the United States. Anyway, I just want to add that little caveat. I understand U.S. Americans in particular, we don't even know where we come from. And then because whiteness, which is what the United States is founded on, this idea of whiteness to justify genocide and chattel slavery, and anti-blackness in particular. Whiteness is empty. It means nothing. We all of our ancestors had to give up wherever we came from to be white. And so, yeah, it makes sense that Hilaria is just like, I'm Spanish because I need something. But it's annoying and it's wrong, and she's getting called out for it, and then she's playing the victim like a true white woman. She fully commits to this, you know? Like, look at this. She has been posting stuff like this forever to make us think she's Spanish. Anytime, any interview, she's like, I want my kids to be bilingual. My parents are here visiting from Spain, so we speak to her in Spanish. At every turn, she keeps trying to fool people into thinking that her mom is Spanish because she's a rich white lady who retired in Mallorca. And by the way, I lived in Spain for a year teaching English. In the southern parts of Spain, you might as well be in Great Britain or the U.S. because there's like not even Spanish spoken in a lot of those towns because these white people from the U.S. and the U.K. have just taken over. You know, it's like the baby Frankenstein is coming back and colonizing the Frankenstein's monster. It's kind of like almost like fate, really, or karma. But anyway, she tells people she was a competitive Latin dancer, says she grew up between Boston and Spain. No, you vacationed in Spain on your rich girl summer. And she let people write about her like her voice betrays a slight Spanish accent from childhood. She never corrects them. She retweeted this thing that calls her the 15 best dressed Latina star. Like, she literally lets people call her Latina and won't post stuff like this is my old self doing my thing in Spain, taking after my Spanish mama, Catherine, whatever her name is. Notice she always says my family lives in Spain. She never says they're from Spain. In case anyone questions mi cultural upbringing, everything's inspired by her Spanish roots. Like, insufferable. And anytime she gets criticized, look at this. She's like, I don't understand the big deal. Home is where my parents are going to be. So if my parents move to China, I'm going to go to China and say I'm going home. Yeah, but she knows that she would never get away with saying she's Chinese, right? She would think this is the God. She really thinks we're so dumb. Her rich parents retired in Europe. And it's her whole personality. Like, seriously, there's something wrong with this woman. You have to be seriously sick to be this committed to this lie. You know, even when she's talking about her wedding, she's like, 35 or 40 people there were from Spain because my family from Spain. I do not understand any of this. Did all of your family retire in Spain? God. And of course, she's going to honeymoon in Spain because that's to go visit her family who retired there. She posts photos of her just being, look at me, like me and my Spanish life. She constantly talks on Instagram, look, like a picture with Richard Gere. Hubby and Senor Gere, President Bill Clinton, Senor Clinton, like... Mi familia. Whenever she's like, but what's funny is some people from her child, like, this is what gets me. This is what always gets me. Do famous people not think that, like, this is like the Golden Bachelor. Did he not think that nobody was going to be like, hi, I dated you while you were supposedly not dating anybody and you're trash. Like, she's got people from high school who are like, I took that photo. I mean, look, Baldwin is just as bad. He went on the Letterman show and was like, my wife's from Spain. I don't know if he just fully believed this lie or if he's like, I'm going to commit to it. And by the way, when he's like, I think on Instagram or somewhere, he was like, hey, will you guys do me a favor? Will you follow my wife? No! He impersonated her accent on an interview once. I don't mean to be racist when I put that accent on. Bro, no, you're racist, but for so many other things. He responds to someone on Twitter in 2013 saying that her family lives in Spain. Like, these two defend each other like the lying little narcissists that they are. Like, they so deserve each other. Again, when she was put on another list as the best dressed Latina, she's just like, yeah. And by the way, a lot of these interviews that have come out, the reason why we never heard about her just lying was because they were for Spanish tabloids and, Spanish magazines and whatever. Of course, none of us in the U.S. are reading that usually. Unless you speak Spanish, we're not reading. We barely, the U.S. is already, we don't read or watch things from other countries unless we have a connection to that country usually because the U.S. is so U.S. focused. Like stuff like this. A sunset, November 2. She posts a photo of a sunset on Instagram and says it reminds her of being young in Spain, where she did not grow up, but vacationed like a little rich white girl. Multiple interviews, she's telling everyone, I grew up between Spain and America. There's another article where they referred to Baldwin as La Española, meaning a woman from Spain. She didn't correct that. Like, people keep coming with receipts. She was, again, said she was a flamenco dancer, competitive Latin dancer. She learned it in Sevilla, Spain. And then someone posted on Twitter her dance competition stuff from Massachusetts, England, no, Spain. When asked about how you pronounce her name, again, I grew up between Boston and Spain. Hello Magazine, 2015, right? Still, every year, interview with Baldwin as a Spanish-born beauty. She starts reposting stuff like this, Spanish memes on Instagram. And this interview that I showed a little while ago was in the People en Espanol Festival on the Today Show. In 2016, still committed to the lie, interviewed by Latina Magazine, the article identifies her as Spanish American. I will never be French American. I've lived here. She spent summers in Spain, and she's calling herself Spanish American. I've lived in France for 5 years. My husband's French. My in-laws are all French. I will never call myself French American. I will never be French. I try to integrate as much as I can, but you will never hear me be like, I'm French. I'm not. Like, this is just blows my mind. And again, every time she's interviewed and they're like, we got our Spanish American, whatever. She's like, she never, ever tries to correct their description. 2016, her and her family are featured on the cover of Hola. Like, Pop Sugar interview, they call her a Spanish-born beauty, not born in Spain. Even when, this one really gets me, even when she signed with CAA, like the biggest talent agency in the world, it is a big deal to get signed with them. This is in her description, was born in Mallorca, Spain. Like, if you're lying to your agents, oh my God. This other article, Hilaria was born in Spain and has made certain to raise her children with her native language, Spanish. I would be willing to bet she can't even speak Spanish. She knows a few words. Have we ever heard her speak Spanish? I bet she can't even speak Spanish. And look, the article referred to Hilaria, Alec, and their 3 children, they have 7 now, as Baldwin. So this interview that I showed y'all before, she's talking about though she and Alec are from different cultural backgrounds, age, language, among other things, they're each other's best friends. And that episode describes Baldwin as originally from Mallorca. When they asked if she'd ever like to move back to Spain all the time. Did you ever live in Spain, girl? I'm pretty sure you didn't. I'm pretty sure you've never lived there. Your parents lived there and you've... And then she commits to that lie again. You know, I came, because she said, I came to New, and it makes it seem like she came to NYU from saying, I came for school and I never, ever left. Alec and I are always like, one day we'll move back. My kids actually go to bilingual school, so they're getting education in both languages. And I'm sure, again, she doesn't even speak Spanish. And then one woman was like, after they heard, I know Hillary Howard Thomas from Cambridge School. She didn't have an accent then and didn't change her name. And didn't change her name to Hilaria because she's not Spanish. Please stop using that accent in this podcast and interrupting your guests. I love that comment. So I'm like, there's so much more. I'm so tired of talking about this lady. But her and Alex deserve each other. I hope he goes to jail for unaliving that beautiful woman. A talented cinematographer at the beginning of her career. What would have been an amazing career. One of the only women cinematographers in Hollywood that's working. And Hutchins is now dead. The traumatized family. And Alec Baldwin him and his wife want us to feel bad for him. Maybe you should go hide in Spain, bro, with your fake Spanish wife. God, these two deserve each other. Also, look how he's laying. He always crosses his legs like that anyway. Hilaria! Fuck off!